Do you ever wonder why so many people over 60 believe they're eating healthy, choosing familiar vegetables like cabbage, yet still end up with declining kidney function, unstable blood pressure, or sudden health scares that seem to come out of nowhere? I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I want to be very clear with you from the start. This is not a small dietary mistake, and it's not something you can afford to ignore after a certain age. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear in the doctor's office after 60. Your body no longer processes foods the way it did at 40, and one common habit involving cabbage can quietly overload your kidneys, interfere with critical medications, and push your cardiovascular system toward a breaking point without pain, without warning, and without obvious symptoms until it's already serious. I've seen patients who thought they were doing everything right only to end up asking me how things went wrong so fast. But stay with me because this is the part that matters most. The problem isn't cabbage itself, it's how it's prepared, how it's combined, and who should never consume it. The way they've been told is healthy. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the exact mistakes that put older adults at risk, and more importantly, I'll show you how a simple shift in awareness can protect your kidneys, your heart, and your independence before it's too late. For many people over 60, this is where the problem quietly begins with bottled cabbage juice or heat-extracted cabbage drinks that are marketed as gentle cleansing and good for digestion. As a physician, I see this pattern over and over again. Patients tell me, "Doctor, I don't eat junk. I drink cabbage juice every morning," and they truly believe they're protecting their health. Let me tell you about a man I saw recently, early 60s, active, disciplined, never missed his medications. Every morning, like clockwork, he drank a bottle of store-bought cabbage juice. No pain, no warning signs. Just a little more fatigue, a bit of ankle swelling, and waking up more often at night to urinate. When his lab results came back, his kidney filtration rate had dropped far faster than expected for his age. He was stunned. Here's what most people are never told. Commercial cabbage juice is not the same as eating cabbage. High heat extraction destroys key compounds like vitamin U, vitamin C, and natural antioxidants, the very elements that make cabbage protective in the first place. What's left behind is far more dangerous, a liquid concentrate of potassium and minerals stripped of fiber. Fiber is not optional. Fiber is what slows absorption and protects your kidneys from overload. When it's removed, those minerals rush straight into the bloodstream. In younger adults, healthy kidneys can compensate. But after 60, kidney filtration naturally slows by as much as 1% per year, even in otherwise healthy individuals. Add a daily mineral surge on top of that, and you're forcing aging kidneys to work under constant stress. Clinical studies show that liquid potassium loads raise serum potassium levels significantly faster than whole food sources. For someone with early or undiagnosed kidney weakness, this can quietly accelerate damage without pain, without drama, until the decline becomes impossible to ignore. This is why bottled cabbage juice is especially risky for older adults with high blood pressure, diabetes, or mild kidney impairment, many of whom don't even know their kidneys are already struggling. What feels like a healthy ritual can become a daily strain on the renal system, slowly pushing it toward failure. The solution is not fear, it's understanding. Whole cabbage, lightly prepared, behaves very differently in the body than a heat-processed liquid extract. One supports balance, the other overwhelms fragile systems. But here's the critical point, and this is where many people make their second mistake. Even if you completely stop drinking cabbage juice, that alone does not eliminate the danger. Because there is another factor even more overlooked that can quietly sabotage your health in a different way, and it has nothing to do with juices at all. And that's what we need to talk about next. After hearing about cabbage juice, many people think the safest choice is to switch back to natural raw, cabbage salads, smoothies, green blends, especially if they've been told raw vegetables are always healthier. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But for a large number of adults over 50, especially women, this is where another silent problem begins. I've had patients sit in my office saying, "Doctor, I eat clean. Mostly vegetables. Lots of raw cabbage." Yet they're gaining weight for no clear reason, feeling constantly tired, cold even in warm rooms, struggling with brain fog, and wondering why their thyroid medication doesn't seem to work the way it used to. These symptoms are often blamed on aging. In reality, diet is quietly interfering. Raw cabbage contains a natural compound called goitrogens. These substances interfere with the body's ability to absorb iodine, which is essential for producing thyroid hormones. And thyroid hormones are not minor players. They regulate metabolism, energy levels, body temperature, heart rate, and even how efficiently your kidneys function. Scientific research has shown that frequent consumption of raw cruciferous vegetables can suppress thyroid hormone production, particularly in individuals who already have hypothyroidism or borderline thyroid function. For patients taking thyroid medication, this becomes even more problematic. The medication may be correct, the dose may be correct, but the food is actively working against it. This creates a frustrating cycle. The thyroid slows down, metabolism drops, fatigue increases, and kidney circulation becomes less efficient. Over time, this hormonal imbalance can indirectly increase strain on the kidneys and cardiovascular system, especially in older adults. Here's the critical part most people never hear. This risk disappears almost entirely with heat. Goitrogens are highly sensitive to temperature. Simply steaming or blanching cabbage for 1 to 2 minutes dramatically reduces their activity while preserving most of the beneficial nutrients. The cabbage stays gentle on digestion, supportive to the gut, and no longer interferes with thyroid function. So the issue is not cabbage itself, it's raw cabbage in the wrong body at the wrong stage of life. What once felt energizing can quietly slow everything down if preparation doesn't change with age. But even if you cook your cabbage properly and avoid raw forms, there is still one more mistake that many people never see coming, and this final one can override both diet and medication in a far more dangerous way. Because simply knowing this still isn't enough. There is another factor that carries an even higher risk. Now, if what you've heard so far is unsettling, this next mistake is where the real danger begins, because this one doesn't just strain the body over time. It can cancel out life-saving medication and trigger a medical emergency. I'm talking about eating cabbage, especially in large amounts or concentrated forms, while taking heart medications or blood-thinning drugs. I've sat across from patients who told me, "Doctor, I never miss my pills. I do everything exactly right." And they meant it. They were taking aspirin, warfarin, or other anticoagulants every single day. But what they didn't realize was that their healthy diet was quietly working against their treatment. Cabbage is extremely rich in vitamin K, a nutrient that plays a direct role in blood clotting. On its own, vitamin K isn't harmful. In fact, the body needs it. But when someone is prescribed blood thinners, the entire purpose of that medication is to reduce clot formation to keep blood flowing smoothly through aging narrowed vessels. Here's the problem. Vitamin K directly opposes the action of blood-thinning drugs. It doesn't cause pain. It doesn't raise alarms. It simply weakens the medication day after day. Studies show that even moderate increases in dietary vitamin K can significantly reduce the effectiveness of warfarin, increasing the risk of clot formation despite strict medication adherence. I've seen the consequences firsthand. A patient follows their treatment plan perfectly, feels fine, and then suddenly suffers a stroke or a heart attack. When we investigate further, the missing piece often turns out to be diet, specifically frequent intake of vitamin K-rich foods in concentrated forms like cabbage juice or large portions consumed daily. This danger is amplified when cabbage is taken as a liquid extract. In juice form, vitamin K becomes more bioavailable and is absorbed more rapidly. That means the medication and the food are essentially fighting each other inside the bloodstream, one trying to thin the blood, the other pushing it to clot. This is why emergency rooms still see patients who did everything right yet arrive with catastrophic outcomes. Not because the medicine failed, but because no one explained how certain foods can silently neutralize it. The solution is not to eliminate cabbage entirely. It's consistency, moderation, and timing, something every patient on anticoagulants should discuss with their physician. Small cooked portions may be manageable. Concentrated juices and daily large servings are where the real risk lies. But here's the most important thing to understand. Diet-drug interactions are rarely explained in full, especially to older adults managing multiple conditions. And cabbage is only one example of how something familiar can become dangerous when circumstances change. But knowing this alone still isn't enough, because there is one final factor, even more overlooked, that can determine whether kidney damage and cardiovascular collapse become unavoidable. Before we end, I want you to remember this. If you've been doing some of these things without realizing the risk, you did nothing wrong. No one taught you how food age and medication begin to interact differently over time. What matters is that now you know, and knowing gives you the power to protect your kidneys, your heart, and your independence moving forward. Small changes in awareness today can prevent very big problems tomorrow. If this information helped you even a little, please save this video so you can come back to it later or share it with someone you care about. And I encourage you to subscribe to this channel because every week I share clear, practical, science-based medical insights designed specifically to help you care for your kidneys and overall health as you age without fear, without hype, and without confusion. Most importantly, don't lose hope. Kidney health doesn't collapse overnight, and it doesn't have to decline quickly. With the right knowledge, thoughtful choices, and consistency, many people are able to slow damage, regain balance, and live full, active lives for years to come. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.